Before we can remove the rear bumper, if you're running one of our diffusers, this one is our carbon option, you're going to need to remove that first. You have the T15s on either side behind the wheel, some 4mm Allen heads in the rear, and then the rest are 7mm head bolts. And get ready to remove this. Now that you have your car in the air, you may or may not have had to remove your rear diffuser. You're going to grab our 22mm socket, take off both rear wheels. Once you have your wheel off and you've removed the 7mm bolt that goes in the back or in the underside of this rear guard, there's going to be 3 metal reinforced clips that go into this guard. And I'm going to get a plastic pry tool, get between it. They're pretty stout, so there's one, there's 2. There's 3, and it hooks in just like that. Actually, I misspoke earlier. There are 1, 2, 3, 4 clips on that rock guard. Behind that, we're going to need to get behind this fiber wheel well. So there's 1, 2 T15s. And there's going to be 2 more rather, 7mm from the bottom. If you already took off your diffuser, those are already removed. But if you have not, there's going to be 2 more 7mm on the bottom. Now that you have the screws removed for the 2 T15s there for the fender liner, you can push the fender liner back. You can put it back behind the caliper. It bends pretty easily. And then you're going to be looking at, on the bumper, there's going to be a 7mm right there, another 7mm back there, and then way back there on that stud, there's a 10mm. So there's a 10, 7, and a 7. We're going to do that on both sides, and then we're going to move up into the engine bay to get the top ones. I want to take a second to point out here, this is going to be the bumper connections on the inside. This is the passenger side. And the stud back there, where that 10mm nut's going to be, this evap canister is actually in the way of that. So you're going to have to either get up there with a small 1/4 inch with a deep well socket, or I was able to squeeze my electric ratchet with a deep well socket in there and made that work. But either way, that's just the trickiest fastener I found while doing this. Be careful not to damage any of those evap lines while you're in there. They're all plastic. At this point, we've got the rear wheels off. All 3 fasteners inside the wheel well are removed. The fasteners underneath the car that go into the bumper are removed. We're going to pop this rear engine cover and start doing some fasteners in here. Once you've gained access to your inside trunk area in the back, you're going to see 14 T15 screws all around the outer edge. I'm going to go ahead and remove those first. The red's pulled on that. I just can't get the lock.
There we go. Just do that.
Just pull it off.
Put my freaking side down.
Yeah.
What the hell's this? That just fell. Oh man, something just broke. That sucks.
Definitely stronger than a fingernail. There you go. The newer they get, the worse they get. See, we've got the bumper removed here after removing these 14 T15s. There's actually 2 more behind the quarter panel here on either side. You still get to them from the trunk area, but on either side there's 2 more T15s. And then there's some alignment holes all around here. So once you have all those screws out, you want to lift on this inside edge and get those alignment pins out of the holes, or else you'll break them off, like one right here. Other than that, you take that off, and then there are going to be 3 electrical connectors, and I'll bring you in closer to show you how to get those off. Here we have our first electrical connector. This one's on the driver's side of the car. This red tab, if it'll focus, you're going to pull that out. So that's the all the way out position. And then you're going to squeeze on this black portion. You have to squeeze real hard. It might take 2 hands. And then it pulls out. Same idea with this little one, except the red tab is on the other side of the bumper. I'll show you that in a second. And this one is identical to the driver's side one, just a beige color. Pull the red out, push down on the beige tab in the center real hard, and then it should pull right out. I'll go over to the bumper and show you that on there. Inside of the rear bumper here, we're going to have this other end of the connector I told you about. It's a red lock tab. Use a little pocket screwdriver, push that tab back, pinch the black right in front of it to release the connector. We're going to have to do that again on this one for the third brake light. We're going to have to remove the third brake light. So pull the tab back, pinch, release, and maybe one-handed. Pull. Yep, just like that. We're going to have to do it on the tail lights as well. There's one here. There's one here. Also on the tail lights. Up here, you're going to have to remove this holder so you can remove the tail light fully in order to get to that bolt on either end of the rear spoiler. So both taillights have to come out. There's 5 7mm screws per taillight. Sorry, 6 per taillight, and 5 for the third brake light. So we're going to remove all those lights, and then we'll be able to get to the hardware for the rear spoiler. There's 2 on either end, and 1, 2 here in the center. So 6 total on the spoiler, 5 on the third brake light, and 6 on either brake light taillight assembly. Switch to our 10mm here. Got all of our fasteners. Remove the factory double-sided tape. Once you have all the hardware holding the spoiler out, you're going to notice the wing didn't actually release. So each upright has some really strong double-sided tape. We're going to put the bumper back on the car so we have a better work area here. And then we're going to deal with that double-sided tape. Slide it on there, like so. Then I'm going to put a couple fasteners in here to make sure it's all held in place. Just going to start them by hand. And then we're going to need a heat gun. So we're going to lightly heat up the base of each of these uprights. The center ones, to me it looks like they're going to release a little bit easier. They're a smaller surface area, but these end ones are going to give us a fight. We're going to need also some plastic trim tools of sorts. If you want to tape around, as long as you're okay with the tape getting hot, you can tape around that. It's personal preference really, whatever you feel is going to protect your paint. Get our pry tools. Gonna start on this one here. See what we can do. Just go on the lowest function and go slow. Try and keep constant movement so we don't heat one spot too much. And do not touch this end to your paint, it's gonna melt it. Be careful of these studs in the ends, because they will scratch. There you have it. Gonna go through, clean up all this residue of the other double-sided tape, and then we'll be back to install the duckbill. Most of this, especially the bigger stuff, you can kind of pick off. The rest of the double-sided tape you can't get off with your hands. It's going to be the easiest way. Rubber wheel and a drill. Go to town. Not a lot of pressure. Don't want to overheat the paint. So we get the big stuff, we'll come back with our isopropyl alcohol mix and clean up the rest, especially the leftover adhesive. So I'm going to leave these. You're going to take an old microfiber and your alcohol mixture. Put a little bit on there. Clean up all your excess adhesive that's left over. Clean up what's going to be your new mounting surface. Cleaned up all of our adhesive. And lightly going over what's going to be our area where the double-sided tape goes. It's going to be all along the top. And it's going to be on either side above the taillight, all the way to the third brake light. Once that's clean and dry, you can start prepping our actual duckbill for double-sided tape. So once we've got all of our adhesive cleaned up, next step I'm going to do is I'm going to test fit this. And on the back side of these, I'm able to get to them through the taillights. So I'll show you what I'm going to do with that information in a second. Gently place this and center it. Just center it with the body lines. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a paint pen and I'm going to go up through the back side of those holes so that when I place my double-sided tape, I'm going to cover those holes to make sure no water intrudes into the bumper. So right here we have our carbon duckbill sitting bottom side up. I've just set it on the packaging, so you can do that as well, just to protect the top side. We've got some microfibers on the corners, and we've already cleaned the bumper side with the isopropyl alcohol mix. So now it's time to clean this end. So let's get to it. I'm gonna run my double-sided tape along the bottom edges of this. This is going to be the back side that sits above the taillights, and then the top side, and this is the front leading edge. So I'm going to go ahead and clean those areas up, make sure our tape is going to stick, just like that. Give it a couple seconds to dry, air dry, and then grab our scissors and our roll of double-sided tape, and let's get to laying her down. This bottom section, or the top front section, is going to be my longest one. We're going to have a couple bends in this section, but you should be able to work it around the bends. This stuff is thin enough. Lay it down a couple sections at a time, making sure it's all flat, there's no wrinkles in it. You're going to use most all of it, if not all of it, depending on how you route it. So now that we have all of our double-sided tape on, you're going to kind of work it into place. Make sure that every section is stuck real good. Don't want this thing flying off at 150, do you? Not that you're going to be doing 150. A couple trips to Mexico. Otherwise, she's sticking pretty good. You want to refer to the little red card that comes in your package. It lists the appropriate conditions to be sticking this, as well as wait times versus cure times. So you're going to be looking at 100% adhesion after 72 hours. So you want to make sure it sits for a while before you go anything over highway speed. Probably don't go highway speed right after you put it on. We're going to get this ready and put her on the car. Now that you've cleaned up all the adhesive off of this, we're actually going to pull the bumper back off, reassemble all the lights, and then we'll throw the bumper back on so it's 100% on, and then the duckbill spoiler just sticks on, so that way everything's all the way put back together. We can line everything up for one last time, and we're not worried about damaging our new duckbill while moving this bumper around. So I'm going to go ahead, slap all the lights back into this bumper, and we're going to get rolling here. Now that we've got all of the double-sided tape from the factory spoiler on or off of the bumper, and we've cleaned and prepped our carbon duckbill, we're going to go ahead and mount the bumper back to the car so that when we go and mount everything, we don't accidentally tear up that new spoiler. So I'm going to get this up. It helps to have an extra set of hands. Plug in the 3 connectors again, plug them back in, and then lift her up and over just like we did going on, or coming off rather. Slide her in there. There we go. Put your fingies. And if any of your bumpers have these plastic shims, they're just for alignment from the factory, go ahead and put them back in where they came from. Mine were over here. And then we put in the 16 T15 screws to start. And then we'll work back down the sides. There's the 2 7mm and the 10mm. And then we'll close up the fender liner, 2 more 15mm on either side. And then if you have your splitter, or diffuser rather, your rear diffuser, go ahead and slap that back on as well. Get the car all the way back on the ground, and then we'll do this duckbill. I'm gonna run through it and catch you when we go put this duckbill on. Now we're gonna go up and do our 10mm nut and our 2 7mm up here. Toss them in here like so. This driver's side is definitely the easier side. You just want to make sure your bumper is sitting nice and flat and flush. Go ahead and grab our little rock guard. Make sure to loop this in. Make sure all 4 tabs lock in. and line up. Give it a little push, just like that. And there's gonna be some screws down here on the bottom once I get some trim panels back in. And if you have the diffuser, those will have to go in after. So I'm gonna go ahead and finish the other side, throw our diffuser up, and then we'll go back, throw the wheels back on, torque them to factory spec, and then lower the car down and actually place our duckbill spoiler. And then we'll torque these to factory spec when it's on the ground. Here we have our prepared carbon duckbill spoiler, and we've prepared the mounting surface here with that isopropyl alcohol mixture and a microfiber. And I've pulled up on either end a little tail on this double-sided tape so that when we stick it down, we can pull it as we press it. So, and that way it doesn't fully stick, and we can move it around just in case we don't stick it in the right place first time. So, place it on here. You're gonna look at your front corners on either side, as well as this body line edge. That is what you're looking to line up with. You want to apply pressure down and forward since this back edge is towards you. So I'm going to stick down these corners. Just a little bit, there we go. Stick down the corners to start. Start pulling. I'm going to start with this big front section. And if you feel any sort of weird tension, kind of walk the red tape back and forth, and that'll free it up some. Put it forward as much as I could. And just like that, with the help of a friend, we've got our duckbill spoiler put on there. And I'm Michael with Various Engineering. If you have any comments, questions, concerns, contact us, sales@various-engineering.com. Thank you guys.